Hello, and welcome to Your Holistic Earth podcast. My name is Kat Halushka, and I will be your host for today. I'm so excited. On this episode, we have Janice Liskey Skinner, certified proactive health coach. First, let me tell you a little bit about Your Holistic Earth. Your Holistic Earth is the bridge that connects your local and national experts in the field of holistic medicine. On each episode of this podcast, we're going to bring experts that are going to help you be healthier and have an increased sense of well-being. And today's guest is Janice Liskey Skinner. For over 3 decades, Janice has excelled as an RN in emergency and labor and delivery. Now, she's a sought-after international speaker and certified proactive health coach. She's passionate about helping you change your daily decisions into ongoing positive habits and ultimately realize major lifestyle rewards. Hey, you know what? I've been in my lifestyle changes and health journey for a very long time, so I'm really excited about this conversation. Janice, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And hey, I know I gave people a little bit of your bio and who you are, but I'd love it if you told us more about what it is that you do to help people.
Okay, first, I just want you to imagine you're in your 20s and you hear this blood curdling scream from your parents' bedroom. And you have no idea if it's a dream or if it's reality. You hear it again and you wake up. You're 22 years old and you run into your parents' bedroom door, and you see your dad lifeless in bed. What do? This is how my journey began. Is I saw my dad. He had a heart attack. I had no idea how to do CPR. I was just in nursing school. I had no idea how to do CPR, so I'm just like faked it. Got my mom to call 911. They came. Unfortunately, he passed away. My dad was 53 years young. He was so young. Was he proactive? I don't even know if that word was in the dictionary in the 80s. But that's how my story began. It's just like, okay, if we don't take care of ourselves proactively, reactively, it's too late, right? If he listened to those little signs, that intuition, that gut that started his chest pain, which he thought was indigestion, he'd still, I believe, would be here today. So I'm really on this drive, this passion, this purpose to make people realize like they get to create the life they want. It starts with the mindset, because if you don't have that mindset, right, nothing's going to fall into place. That's where I believe it all starts between the 6 inches between our ears. So that's how, my coaching really began. I was in traditional medicine for over 3 decades, emergency and labor and delivery, bringing life into the world, and at the end, at the an emergency, seeing life leave this world. So I've seen both spectrums of it. So this is really important, is seeing how important it is that you're proactive with your health, not reactive your health. And I really want people to start with their mindset, especially in this time of uncertainty, and they don't know what the heck's going on. They only have control of themselves. The choices they make are theirs, right? And I talk a lot about living a life of choice instead of a life of chance. So that's where my coaching began, is really over 35 years ago. And didn't know, when we look at our life, look at the past behind us and where we are today, it led us to here. So those stepping stones brought us to here.
Absolutely. And I love it. I am truly a believer that mindset can change a life. So tell us a little bit more. How does the mindset can actually create the life of your dreams?
Well, when I talk a little bit about a life of chance or life of choice, right? So we get to decide which way we want to live our life, right? A life of chance is living a life of unconscious reaction. So we just react to the same thing over and over again. We do the same thing. It's just like, the hamster in the wheel, just spinning, right? A life of choice is a life of conscious action. We get to decide what we want in our life. We get to choose what we want, our health is, how our relationships are, how our mindset is, how our nutrition is. We get to choose. Like, we're all on this path. And I believe when we start with a mindset, like, I've coached a couple people, and one just excelled. This man, he just like, it wasn't the weight that he lost, but it was like all of a sudden he was down like this. All of a sudden he was sitting up, his chest is out, he's just smiling, and people are like, "What have you done, Dave?" And you're like, "Did you shave a mustache?" He didn't even have a mustache, but it's just like suddenly he had this smile and this light in his eyes that he forgot was there. And this other man, really large man, health wise, definitely needs to do it. But he kept saying, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that." Right. And I believe if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. Either way, you're right. So that's a mindset. His mindset was not there to take care of his health. Right. So he picked and choose what suits him. Right. So just living, I'm still going to eat that. So mindset is so important. You think about a baby when it comes into this world, right? Is that baby wants to be heard. It's all about them. They come into this world, hey, look at me. And when all these adults get around this baby and it's cooing and it's joyful, that people look at them and think, oh my gosh, and it lights up the world, lights up that room. When that baby's needs want to be met, whether it's dirty diaper or it's hungry, it's tired, whatever it is, it's cranky. And it lets everybody know in that room that it needs attention. So they're selfish. So we forget to be selfish. And I don't mean selfish in a negative way. I mean selfish, like if we don't take care of ourselves first and foremost, we got nothing to give to anybody else, right? You need that cup overflowing so you can, give from the saucer instead of just, if you have a empty cup, I'm sorry, I got nothing left. I'm like depleted. So the mindset, especially in this time, is just like, you know what? Look inside. This is a time of enlightenment. This is a time of reflection, right? We just need to reflect and look inside. Like if it's to be, it's up to me. It really is. And I remember being told as a child, it's like, you get to, the only one that can make you happy is you. I'm like, well, if I have this car, I'll be happy. If I have this house, if I get this job or this career, right? You've heard that before. So really, it took me to like 50 some years. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm responsible to make my husband happy, my kids happy. So I'm grateful I've learned it now where my kids are in their 20s. And trust me, I'm verbal diarrhea when it comes to that message for them. So mindset is huge and you get to decide. My
Absolutely.
boys, I just felt once my boys used to come home after dating their girlfriend and they'd be grumpy. And I'm like, is your girlfriend PMSing? Because suddenly it was like they were PMSing. Sorry.
It's contagious, right?
It is. So I'm like, you don't get to be like that. That's her stuff. That's not yours. So don't take it on as yours.
So what are some of the common misconceptions when it comes to mindset and health? Because I'm sure there's a lot, but what are the ones that come up the most and how can we deal with it?
Well, first, the misconception right now in the world that we're in is like when this is over, when this like they get a handle. When I get the vaccine, I'll be healthy again. The world will be better. Or when this happens, or when we don't have to wear masks, when we get back to our norm. Is this our new norm? Like that is such a misconception in all of it. You talk about community thinking, like collective thinking. So if we all get to that point where I'm responsible for my own thoughts and my own way of thinking, my health, everything, like we can all go outside and take a walk, right? We can take that time to exercise. We don't need to go to the gym. Yes, the gym is lovely to go there because of those like-minded people. I get that. But you know what? We didn't have gyms when like I was a kid. We
Yeah.
didn't go to the gym. We just went out and kicked the soccer ball or we played dodgeball in the street. So that mindset is just, the misconception that when I get this, that, and that, it really needs to start with ourselves. And that can be just reading something or connecting with someone that, is like-minded, like myself, and just, and I'm very much experience-minded. Like if I didn't have my own mindset of calmness in the chaos and crisis, how would I have dealt with my dad's death?
Mm-hmm.
How would I have dealt with, there's so many other stories I could tell you, but I'm grateful that the mindset I have to help me stay in this calmness during chaos or crisis.
What are some of the first steps that we can take to actually start working on our mindset? Because I know a lot of our listeners do some work, but perhaps they're still a little lost.
You know what? It's a daily habit. Is getting into that daily routine, and meditation is a new one really for me. I mean, quieting the mind, going back to the breath. You think of as a child, you know, I have a granddaughter, and I when she's um, having a temper tantrum, you just want them to breathe. Just breathe. Calm down and breathe. So we need to take that same advice. Calm down, just breathe, quiet the mind, and get into, and you know, that's where my being balanced business is about. It's about helping others take their daily choices and turn them into healthy habits for lifestyle rewards,
Yes.
right? That's the key. This is a Everything should be a lifestyle change, not just a diet, right? A diet is like deprivation.
Mhm.
It should be a lifestyle change. So just make it a daily ritual, like get into a daily habit. And it actually, I know they used to say it took 2 weeks to create a habit, but really it's 66 days is what the new stats show.
Yeah.
You know, 66 days.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. I personally like the habits, the daily rituals. It's such a huge part of my life, and I am a believer that that's the only thing that made my business successful thus far, is me being able to have that discipline, but also have a coach just like yourself helping me along the way. So, tell us a little bit. What makes you the best health coach? Like, is there an obstacle you had to overcome, or what's the story there? Yeah, I can tell you're very passionate about what you do. So, how did you get here?
Well, again, you know, when I look back at all those stepping stones from my dad to here, I see a lot more in place. And, you know, health issues, I really didn't have to get over too much, like physical, mental for sure. You know, that depression that comes with, you know, whether it's a Chinook brings in a barometric pressure change that causes people headaches and depression. And, you know, I've lived with that. It's just like more having kids. Us women, we go through so many hormone changes. It's like, oh my gosh, like what next? And you don't want to ask the universe that, just so FYI, don't ask the universe that. It will show you. But you know, those hormone changes come, a lot, women get depression, or they get depression. It's just, that's really an obstacle. And if it was that, knowing my mindset, I don't want to take this pill or that pill, I want it to be about, you know, I having control. Again, back to the choice, back to the mindset. So I've been through a lot of little obstacles, and I really help teach people by my stories about how to remain calm in any chaos or crisis, and also to have that mindset of positivity and, you know, oh my gosh, I can do anything.
Yes. So for those who are listening and want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Well, the best place, like the quickest response you get from me, is through my email, and it's jliskyskinner at gmail.com. That's the best way. So if you want to have, I would love to just, you know, help you make a decision if you're looking for a coach, or if you want to tweak that mindset you have. I offer a complimentary 30-minute consultation that we just have a little discovery about each other, about yourself, and see where you want to go. Like if you could change one thing, what would you want to change? And that's kind of what we talk about for that 30 minutes, because it's really important that you know that even coaches have coaches. I've had two or three, right? We do, because I'm not an expert in social media. I'm not an expert in podcasts, but I am an expert in health and mindset, 100%.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to our show and sharing your expertise and your brilliance with us. Make sure you connect with Janice and actually book that call, because, hey, if you could change just one thing about your life, your mindset, your daily habits, what is this going to create for you? I know for me, it created a 6-figure business. So Janice, I'm really excited that you were able to come on today. Again, thank you.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
And again, you can check out Your Holistic Earth over at profitableimpactacademy.com/YHE. We're looking forward to having you back for another episode. Make sure you check out all the other experts that we've interviewed in the past and will be in the future. Stay tuned.